Well, let's continue the conversation around this. Western Cape Premier Alan Winde joining us now to discuss the province's plan to curb rising gun violence. Premier, good evening to you. Thank you for your time. I'm aware of a meeting that you would have held on the 27th of August where the police management were invited into the provincial cabinet. But before we get to all of that, here is a call from one community which says the commissioner is out of his wits when it comes to the handling of crime in the province and he needs to go. What's your response?
Okay, so I mean, obviously I do absolutely understand the huge frustration that communities have at the moment. And overall, I mean, it's very easy to just call for the commissioner's head. But what we've been calling for all along is more resourcing and better management systems. So to give an example, and I mean, the communities are exactly right. I mean, the kind of shootings and the bodies that are piling up, it's just absolutely unacceptable. You know, and if I think about the resourcing or the lack of resourcing. So when I became the Premier 6 years ago, so I'm in the start of my second term, we devised a plan which we said we need to get better management control, and that's about devolution of power. But at that stage, the police commissioner had just short of 20,000 police officers in which to deploy across the province. Today, we're talking about just less than 13,000 officers. So crime has gone up, population numbers have gone up, but the police resourcing has gone down. And of course, with less police officers, it is much harder to get crime under control, and especially gangsterism and extortion. I mean, those two are hand in hand or hand in glove, and they really are unacceptable, and we need to have a change. I actually had a discussion myself with the police minister, the new minister, Minister Kachalia. I'm still waiting. He said he'll come to the Western Cape this week. We need to have these hard discussions because it's exactly what the community are saying. If they can't feel a difference, they are going to do exactly what they're doing. They're going to be calling for the police commissioner's head.
So let's go into that Wednesday, 27 August 2025 meeting which took place. Your cabinet endorsed what is called the 2025 Policing Needs and Priorities Report. Break that down in understandable terms. What is it that's going to be done to change the face of crime in the Western Cape?
Okay, so the Policing Needs and Priorities Report is a report that we put together as the province in our oversight of the South African police services in our region. It is a document that we put together every year. It is a document that we hand over to the national minister and police commissioner, as well as the provincial commissioner, Patekile, or General Patekile. It is our constitutional mandate and our oversight document. That document is where the data comes out and says we are, you know, just over 901 detectives too few, or vacancies in the detective system. That's why I can say to you how many police are deployed. That document goes into depth as to how many motor vehicles each police station has, which are operational, which aren't. And it is our document that we hand to national government to say, this is where the shortfalls are. This is where the deployment is short. And still, year after year, in the crime hotspots where the most crime happens, where the murder levels are the highest, where the rapes are the highest, where the sort of attempted murders are the highest, they have the least population to police deployment ratios. Totally unacceptable. That's what that document says. And we say, based on that document, the following things need to happen. So we ask the police to come and give us a report at cabinet. What are you doing about these escalating gang murder rates that are taking place? Where are you deploying your forces? And how can we help? Because it's not only about saying we've only an oversight role. So we've got our own LEAP officers in partnership with the City of Cape Town. We deploy them to the hotspots. We've just agreed with the police now to also, over and above our hotspot deployment, which is to 6 areas: Delft, Khayelitsha, Philippi East, Nyanga, Mitchell's Plain, and Gugulethu. Those are the areas with the highest crime rates. that's where we deploy. But we've got 1,200 officers we deploy. It's a drop in the ocean compared to what we should have. And as a province, we should have 26 to 28,000 officers, totally under-resourced. That's why I need to have this discussion with the minister to say, let's try some new models. Let's see if we can help in the investigation space with our LEAP and law enforcement officers at a municipal level. We've got peace officer status, we can arrest, but can we also do investigations? Can we make sure those dockets are going to end up in court? At the moment, we've got a 17% success rate in cases referred to court, that there's an actual conviction that follows through with those dockets that end up in court. There's a lot of work have got to be done. And of course, that's why communities are getting so frustrated.
Premier, I really want us to give this discussion almost a human face, if you like. And there are no shortage of examples to give. And I will use my experience. I was in Cape Town recently. And you walk in the waterfront, you feel safe. You really do. You jog along the Sea Point area. It is absolutely fantastic. But just today, or should we say yesterday, or was it, yeah, it was early this morning, the 31-year-old who gets shot on the side of the road. These are now the communities that are feeling neglected. Why and how has this been allowed to happen for so long?
You see, that is my big frustration. I mean, to put a face on it, it is about someone's child getting hit in crossfire of gang shooting, or these shootings that take place in this taxi violence that's happened, and you're just an innocent commuter and you get hit by a stray bullet while you've got these taxi feuds busy fighting with each other. The extortion rackets that come in and do execution style when they just walk in to a room somewhere across the Cape Flats and they just shoot 6 people inside a room. And go and have a look at the deployment of officers in those spaces. It is so frustrating. And that's why we put this LEAP plan together to say, let's try something new. We went to the best advice we could find from our universities to our international partners. So we've got a lot of support through the Bavarian government and their partnership. The Bavarian Chief of Police is visiting in the region quite often. We work very closely with the Institute of Security Studies. We work very closely with the Global Initiative out of Geneva, bringing the best brains we can, putting these plans together. But of course, we don't have the budgets that SAPs have. And so we really can't put 25 or 26,000 officers on the street. And that's why we've got to have this hard conversation to say the current model of policing is not good enough. It is totally under-resourced, and we need urgent change. That's why I was really excited after the last election. A year ago, we signed an MOU with the president present, with the new Minister of Police present, with the city and the province, saying we're going to actually sort of have a look at these various areas, of which one of them is legislation, but in other areas where we can work together or where we see real gaps in the system so that we can try now to fix this. And, then you don't get anywhere. And the next thing, now we've got the police minister on suspension. We've got a new minister. Immediately the new minister is sworn in. The first thing we do is I give him a call. Minister, please, we need a meeting in the Western Cape. When can you come? We're still waiting for him. Hopefully he comes this week so we can talk about these exact things, saying, let's try some. We really are willing partners. We don't want to play just an oversight role here in the province. We want to play an active role, and we're putting budget towards it. We need to join forces, get force multipliers, and make sure this whole system gets really focused on, and it's about community, policing forums, neighborhood watches, policing itself, management systems, using technology for deployment, using the latest tech, and we've got international partners that are helping us with this, that are supporting us with this. But if we don't get that component between the job of the police within the Constitution, the provincial commissioner and those top management of police, if we don't get that cooperation with our municipalities, our citizens and the province, then we are not going to get to where we want to get to.
Finally, and very briefly, if you can, Premier, in Gauteng today, an announcement of unprecedented evictions of those that build informal settlements in and around the city and peri-urban areas, if you like, because the Premier here is convinced that that is what is feeding into organized crime. Recently, in the Western Cape, in Mitchell's Plain, there was a discovery of weapons in a quiet area that seems completely shielded from what goes on in areas that are affected by violence. What is feeding this violence? And perhaps you might want to add the taxi violence as well in that response.
Okay, so I mean, obviously, we saw the General Patekile and the announcement made. I mean, he actually did call the MEC to say we are in Mitchell's Plain and we will be giving you detail on a raid that we're doing shortly. So we knew it was coming. We didn't know exactly what the detail were, and you could find. I mean, that's exactly what happens. There's housing and spaces where the arms and the ammunition are kept. There's also a system where children are used as the gun runners. I mean, the criminals have got a very clear system running. And then, of course, alongside that is what was happening in the taxi violence. And of course, what is really scary for me is that the number of automatic weapons that are being found in these searches, that is really scary. So there's more and more weapons, more and more ammunition, and more automatic rifles in these spaces that are being called out. And you know, this is sort of the underlying problem. And every day we get reports about how many guns are taken off the street, but it just seems to be a revolving door. More and more arms and ammunition coming into the system to feed this gang war, this extortion war that is happening. And that's why we have to be much bolder, much stronger in getting policing right. And we've got to do this together. We believe that there should be a devolution of a certain number of policing powers so that they can be made at local level, closest to the people, in conjunction with the multifaceted approach of all levels of government and local citizens in the area. We have to bring about change. We can't keep doing the same thing over and over again and hope to get a different outcome, because it's not working.
Alan Winde, the Western Cape Premier, thank you very much for your time tonight.